27-year-old Daniel Brooks had recently moved from Arizona to Chicago after getting a high-paying job at a marketing company. Daniel was excited about the opportunity, but he hated the city's cold weather and constant rain. Because of his workload, Daniel often stayed late at the office, sometimes leaving after everyone else had already gone home. One night, Daniel finally finished work around 11 p.m. As he stepped outside the office building, he saw that a powerful storm had covered the entire city. Heavy rain flooded the streets, while thunder shook the sky. Almost every shop nearby was closed, and there were barely any people outside. Daniel tried booking a cab on his phone, but no drivers were accepting rides because of the storm. Frustrated, he stood near the building entrance waiting for the rain to slow down. That was when he noticed an old man standing beside him under a black umbrella. The man looked extremely thin, and his clothes were completely soaked, even though he was holding the umbrella properly. His pale face looked strained, almost lifeless. Daniel gave him a polite smile and said, "Thanks." The old man stared silently at the empty road for a few seconds before replying in a weak voice, "Be careful during storms. Some people never make it home." Before Daniel could say anything else, the old man slowly walked away into the rain and disappeared down the street. Trying to ignore the strange encounter, Daniel began walking toward his apartment. After walking for a few minutes, Daniel suddenly noticed something strange. Along with the sound of his own footsteps, he could hear another set of footsteps behind him, as if someone was walking only a few feet away. Daniel immediately turned around. Nobody was there. The street behind him was completely empty, except for the heavy rain pouring from the sky. Trying to stay calm, Daniel quickly continued home. By the time he reached his apartment building, he was completely drenched. His roommate was away for the weekend, leaving him alone in the apartment. The storm became worse after midnight. Strong wind rattled the windows, while lightning repeatedly lit up the dark apartment. Around 2 a.m., Daniel got up to get water from the kitchen. The moment his feet touched the floor, he froze. The carpet felt wet. Confused, he switched on his phone flashlight and looked down. Wet footprints covered the hallway floor. Large footprints, much larger than his own. Daniel's heart began racing as he slowly followed the footprints toward his bedroom. A flash of lightning suddenly illuminated the room for a second, and Daniel saw someone standing motionless near the corner beside his closet. Then the lights went out completely. Daniel's hands shook as he pointed the flashlight toward the corner again. An old man was standing there. It was the same man from outside the office building. Water dripped continuously from his clothes onto the floor. His skin looked pale blue, and his empty eyes stared directly at Daniel without blinking. The man slowly opened his mouth and whispered, "I asked for help, but nobody stopped." Daniel backed away in terror, but suddenly the apartment floor began flooding with water. Within seconds, the water rose past his ankles. The old man's body started swelling unnaturally, as though it was filling with water from the inside. Dark water began pouring from his mouth onto the floor. Daniel screamed and tried to escape, but the water kept rising higher until it reached his chest. Just before losing consciousness, Daniel saw horrifying shapes moving beneath the old man's skin, as if drowned people were trapped inside his body. The next morning, Daniel was found unconscious near the apartment entrance by a neighbor. When he woke up in the hospital, doctors told him something impossible. His lungs contained dirty floodwater, even though there was no flooding anywhere in the building. Terrified and desperate for answers, Daniel later searched online for news about the area around his office. That was when he discovered a shocking story from years earlier. During a massive storm, an elderly homeless man had fallen into an uncovered construction hole filled with rainwater near the same office street. People nearby had heard him screaming for help, but because of the storm, nobody stopped to save him. His body wasn't discovered until the next morning. After learning the truth, Daniel immediately left Chicago and moved back to Arizona. But even now, whenever heavy rain begins outside at night, Daniel sometimes hears wet footsteps slowly walking through the hallway toward his bedroom door.